Welcome to MBA Secrets. Our today's special guest is Andrey Simonyan, a former lawyer from Moscow, a Chicago Business School student, and a summer intern at Moelis, one of the prestigious boutique investment firms in New York. So, Andrey, what do you think differentiates Chicago Booth from other programs?
So basically, when I started my application process, I sort of look at it from three dimensions: from the academic standpoint, a professional standpoint, and personal standpoint. And from the academics, with flexible curriculum, so you probably know that, so we can basically choose and customize our program in a way we see fit. So we can take classes we want and in any sequence we want. And it's definitely, I think, differentiates Booth from other programs, although I have never been to any other school, so it's hard for me to compare. From the professional standpoint, since I knew I wanted to do banking, so basically it was important for me to choose a school with a strong reputation in finance and accounting. And since I'm a sort of a career changer, that was important to me to kind of find a school that takes teaching seriously. And from personal standpoint, I came here for the first day, so that's kind of a day for admitted students where you can kind of meet people. And the people I've met, I really kind of enjoyed my conversations, and I felt I would fit in just because they were very successful, no question about it, but at the same time very humble and down to earth, and that's the kind of environment I'm looking for. I was looking for and I'm looking for now.
So you liked the people and you also liked the curriculum, the academic side.
Yeah, academics, and that from the professional standpoint, Booth has all I need to succeed in my kind of professional endeavors.
What are your professional endeavors, by the way?
Yeah, I wanted to find a job in investment banking in New York, or basically in London. I was open to kind of multiple locations. I worked as a lawyer on M&A transactions, but at some point I realized that lawyers, they are sort of far removed from the decision making and the entire deal process, and I wanted to have more of that and do more analytical work. And I want to make a transition, so I'm a career switcher. And it came to Booth specifically, basically, to recruit for banking, at least for the summer.
And you managed to get a spot at Moelis.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's amazing.
Basically, Moelis is a very good bank. I'm very happy about the process. It was one of my top choices coming in, so I'm very happy. I got my offer about a month ago, so from now on, I have all the time kind of to explore the program.
Tell us a bit, please, about the recruiting process. What was it like?
So basically, you come in. Booth starts a little bit later than many other schools. So our orientation started in the beginning of September, I guess, and then kind of beginning of October, so a month after the orientation process, you already kind of the recruiting process kicks off. In investment banking, you have all the banks come on campus. So we have about 15 or 20 banks. Some of them, by the way, don't hire internationals, so you have to be mindful of that. They come to campus with their presentations, and then you sort of try to meet people. Investment banking recruiting is very networking heavy, so we have to network with people, and basically by the time you apply for the job, they have to know you already and have kind of an understanding, know your story and why you want to do banking. And then you basically, on all these events, they kind of non-stop. So you have 4 or 5 events every week with different banks. Then you sort of meet people. Then you send them sort of thank you notes, and then you do informational calls after those events. The point is to introduce yourself and kind of to ask questions if you have any question about any particular bank. And then after that, banks sort of start sending out closed list events, setting up closed list events and sending out invites out of people who came for the event on campus that was open to everyone. Then they select kind of groups of students they want to kind of get to know better. And they have sort of closed list events in Chicago. So basically all the banks fly over here for this closed list events where you kind of, again, meet more people and get to know them, they get to know you. And after that, you basically just apply for a job through the kind of on-campus system, and then you have interviews 1 or 2 rounds, 2 or 3 rounds, I guess.
You said that some banks don't hire internationals.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess it's not very easy for an international to find a job at a bank. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that's. I don't think like anything is easy, but I don't think that's so very hard. I mean, it's one of the banking is a very structured process, and historically, just by looking at the numbers, you see a lot of internationals going into banking. So it's basically, yeah, it's not easy, but it's not something like unheard of.
But still, I think, given your background as a international and also your background as a lawyer rather than a finance professional, investment banker, I thought it's not very easy for you to get a job in investment banking. So, what do you think helped you succeed?
Uh, yeah, just since the process is so structured and we have all the help like from second years, we have an investment banking group here, kind of second years to help us along the way. And then I have my peers. So basically in investment banking, and I think it's roughly the same in consulting, where you also have this structured process. You just have to kind of trust the process.
Ah, I see. So there is an efficient process for career switching from anything into investment banking and into consulting, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And basically, I got matched up with a few lawyers, second years, who were lawyers before and who went to investment banking. So I talked to them about like how to position ourselves, how to position myself. So it also helped.
Okay, so your example clearly supports the hypothesis of many people who go to MBA to change careers. It's really possible.
Yeah, I mean, it is like with banking and consulting, I think there is nothing like that's very possible. I think 80%, 70% of people who recruited for banking, they were career switchers in one way or the other. So basically, probably some of them like worked in finance before, but not in investment banking.
Andrei, what were the things that you struggled most in your recruiting process?
First, you have to understand that basically you come in and you start recruiting right off the bat, like your second week at school. You don't know a lot of stuff. And I definitely struggled a lot in terms of you have to network and you have to network kind of in an American way. You don't know how to do that. There is this cultural barrier and language barrier to some extent. So, and you have to overcome all that. You have to navigate the whole process. I talked a little bit about that the process itself is very structured. That's completely true. But at the same time, you have to kind of find your way how to navigate it. To give an example, kind of when you start calling, uh, doing these informational calls, you have to be very careful because, like, if you come across as too aggressive or kind of, I mean, if they don't like you for any reason, they can cut you off the list, and that you're gonna, it will be pretty hard to get back on that list. And with a few banks, definitely I got cut off their list, and it was to some extent eye-opening. So my advice would be just again talk to people. Don't try to jump ahead of the process. Think whether what you're doing makes sense, because sometimes people sort of they jump into the program, they jump into the process, and they kind of follow everything they're told. But at the same time, some things you have to kind of rationalize whether that makes sense for you, especially if you're an international. So you have to be careful, kind of in your first weeks, not to make any mistakes.
Yeah, also, you shouldn't assume that once you're in a top school, that everything's granted for you. You will still need to work, you still need to compete, and you'll need to compete a lot.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. Like once you're here, it's just like an opportunity to you to apply to many other different things, both in terms of kind of professionally and from the academic standpoint. And yeah, you compete a lot. But the thing I like at Booth is that you compete a very kind of respectful, and I really enjoyed that. I didn't feel I was competing with anyone.
So it was a friendly competition.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Andrei, how did you manage to learn all those interview tricks so quickly?
I wouldn't say that I was very good at it. To some extent, you kind of learn by doing, right? So you because there are so many events, and with every single event, you get better at it. to an extent, and then you have your classmates. They kind of help you navigate. I had a group of people, like 3 or 4 people, that we went to kind of those events together, and we helped each other. So basically, you give feedback, you receive feedback, you try to improve.
Did you have any problems with work visa?
No, again, there are policies in place in all the banks. So some of them hire internationals, some of them don't. But I would say like 90% of banks, they do hire internationals, and there is absolutely no problem about that. They just, after I got my offer, I got an email from the HR department asking like what my kind of, what visa I'm on, what status I'm in, basically here in the United States, and they will figure out like all the technicalities.
What are your career plans after your internship and even after you graduate from Chicago?
Yeah, that depends actually. That depends on my summer, just kind of to expand on choosing the right career path. With banking, if you don't have any prior experience and you don't go for the summer internship, you are not going to be able to recruit full time in your second year. I want to kind of see how it's like to work in banking here in the US during my summer, and then depending on whether I got an offer full time, I will think about my options.
Yeah, that makes sense. Talking about the Chicago Booth program, who do you think is an ideal fit for the program?
I think many people who come here to Booth, on top of that, they're kind of smart, and actually, that's incredible when you come in and you see so many smart people in the same place. But on top of that, they're very humble and very down to earth and very analytics driven.
Smart, analytics driven, and humble.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I see. What are your most memorable experiences with your classmates?
Actually, I had quite a few. I mean, we had this leadership class, sort of an orientation. You know, we were kind of broken down into squads of 6 people when we came here to Booth, just to kind of get to know each other and learn some basics of leadership and communication. And we had a lot of kind of, the intimate discussions straight off the bat at the beginning. And that was pretty memorable when you had to kind of, coming from Russia on, like we had people from all over the world in my squad. And then you sort of share your goals, your fears, and you get to know each other pretty well. And that's kind of was a very interesting experience for me.
So the leadership experience.
Yeah, it's part of the leadership program, I would say. It's just like a way, because with flexible curriculum, we don't have this cohort, right, as other schools do. So basically we choose our class, and that's it might be a little bit more difficult to get to know people because we have kind of more than 1,000 people in our program, and you definitely want to get to know as many of them as possible. And with lead class and this squad system, where you kind of get to know 4 or 5 people very well early on, it's just like the way Booth facilitates this kind of so that students get to know each other.
I see. Vlad Baskakov from Harvard also told me that they travel quite a lot in order to make connections and to become friends, to get to know each other better. Do you also get to travel a lot?
Yeah, we have a lot of kind of a lot of trips organized by students. I didn't have a chance to kind of go on any of them because I kind of, when you do recruiting, like banking or consulting, that consumes all your time. So when basically I didn't have a chance to go there, but I'll definitely want to explore this next year and later this year. One of the trips we have planned, we go to Colorado in December every year. So it's sort of a winter trip, and about 600 people I think go there. So that's an incredible experience.
What is your most interesting curricular experience?
From a curriculum standpoint, I got into a strategy lab. That's a sort of experiential learning class that we have here at Booth, and I'm gonna take it next quarter. But I'm really looking forward to it because you form kind of a group of, I think, 6 or 7 people, and then you work on a real project for a real company. Just to give an example, I applied for kind of economic assessment of an energy storage kind of strategy for Siemens. I think that's an incredible opportunity, kind of to work on real project with kind of that's going to have real implications for real company.
And what is your favorite class?
So far, it might sound weird, But one of my favorite classes was accounting.
Accounting. Well, I guess it makes sense for you as a future investment banker.
I'm not sure. Like accounting is really boring, but I really enjoyed like the way the professor kind of shaped the whole class. It was an intermediate accounting class, so I skipped the basic class. Again, this kind of shows the flexibility we have here at Booth. So I skipped basic accounting class and went straight into the intermediate class. And we talked a lot about this deferred taxes, and it was pretty interesting how he kind of turned a very boring topic into a very kind of lively discussion.
So, your whole experience at Chicago now sounds very interesting. So, I was wondering if there is anything you would like to change about it.
Honestly, I don't think I have enough kind of data because it's only like my second quarter. One thing I think at Booth we have a pretty large program, so we have about 600 people in first year and about 600 people in second year, so about more than 1,000 people. So that's a lot of people, right? And I would love to be at a smaller program, probably.
Andrei, tell us a bit, please, about your personal finance. Did you have to borrow a student loan?
Yeah, I had to take on some loan, like not a very significant amount, but still, yeah. And it worked out pretty easy. So basically, financing your MBA, so long as you are willing like to take on some debt, it shouldn't be a problem.
How long do you think it would take you to repay the debt?
I'm aiming actually at 1 or 2 years.
Oh, just 2 years. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, because I'm not taking a lot of money, and on top of that, I'm going into this kind of fields where you kind of have this predictability in terms of how much money you're going to get, and I think 1 or 2 years is going to be enough kind of to pay off all I've borrowed.
Do you feel any financial constraints now?
To an extent, like you always have to kind of live within some constraints, but I don't think that I've changed my lifestyle to a significant extent. Uh, so I'm here with my wife, by the way.
What is she doing, by the way?
She's just enjoying life. She's going to be a co-chair of the Booth Partners Club, actually next year. So basically, we have a club for all partners of Booth students, and he's going to be kind of in charge of, not in charge, but she's going to kind of lead the way they spend their time.
Will she be able to find a job there?
Actually, like she's not allowed to work because I'm on a F1 visa, and on F1, kind of she has F2, so she can't work. Once you start working, if you get on H1B, if you get an H1B visa, after you start working full time, I think she's gonna be able to work too. I think that's a big problem for many people who come here with their partners, so that partners are not allowed to work.
Yeah, that's true. That was a big problem for us, for my wife and I, when we were planning to go to Stanford. Do you have any piece of advice that you could share with prospective students at Chicago? How to prepare for the program, how to prepare the application, or whatever?
For Chicago specifically, I think talk to people. I think I'm actually like also a country captain for Russia and Armenia, so we have sort of this ambassadors for every country that kind of make themselves available as a resource for all prospective students. If you're really interested, reach out to people, talk to people, and try to figure out like whether that's the right place for you. And then kind of if you think that's the right place for you, just do your best, and you would be fine.
How can people find you?
My contact details and a few other people who are country captains for Russia. You can find it just on the website, on the Chicago Booth website. It's like global ambassadors, something like that.
Okay, I think now you can expect lots of messages from our listeners. So be ready.
Yeah, we have, again, like, I think we are pretty happy to talk to people. That's absolutely fine. We're happy to help.
Any advice on the application process? On essays?
I would say think hard about your sort of goals, why you want to do that, because MBA is not kind of a goal in and of itself. It's just kind of a tool to get somewhere. And I would start by thinking hard. What do you want to do? Why you're doing? One of your goal can be just to come to the US, just to stay here. That's possible. Your goal can be just to make a career switch, like it was in my case, or kind of any other goal. But I think it's very important to think where you want to be kind of 5 years out. Because again, MBA is not a goal in and of itself. It's just a tool. And once you get your goals straight, just talk to people and try to figure out if MBA is the right tool that would get you to your goals. And MBA is not for everyone, I guess. And yeah, that would be my piece of advice. And if you have your goals straight, and if you talk to people and figure that MBA is the right tool for you, and particular program is the right tool for you to get to your goals, then you should be fine. So you don't need any advice for the application, because like you're gonna set out your goals and how MBA fits into your goals, and then you would get what you want.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that's a very good piece of advice. You just need to figure out what's right for you, and if MBA is right for you, it will be much easier for you to get there. And I'm also very happy to see that your goals are really very close to you, thanks to Chicago booth, and that's great. So congratulations on that, Andrey, and thank you very much for your time. It was very interesting talking to you, and I think listeners will appreciate it as well. Thank you very much.